Good morning, welcome to CADX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2013. To our radio listeners, if you ever want to view the broadcast, please go to our website, www.catex.com, cadex.com. Well, reinsurers and insurers always have to worry about something. Now, today's talk is the expiration of the Terrorism Risk Insurance Act, scheduled for, drumroll please, December 31st, 2014. The so-called TRIA Act was put in place by the federal government after the terror attacks on September 11, 2001. TRIA provides a federal government backstop of about $100 billion to be exhausted after, or I should say before, private commercial terrorism insurance policies pay off. The terror market is an expensive market. Only one company, Berkshire Hathaway, offers terrorism insurance, but that's premised on the fact that the TRIA funds will be available. The big broker Aon said that 85% of insurers would pull their coverage if TRIA was not continued after the end of 2014. Meanwhile, Tower Group, that ill-fated company that had some significant problems in trying to purchase the American Safety Reinsurance arm in Bermuda, which has still not released its second quarter financial numbers, announced last night that it will release those numbers, which were due in mid-July, on October 7th. Tower said that it's continuing to work on its Form 10-Q and will file the document with the Securities and Exchange Commission as soon as practical. Shares in Tower lost 25% of their value when the insurer postponed its second quarter results last month. We spoke about that flooding in Colorado, which was almost apocalyptic. It had a significant effect on the state's agricultural industry, which is actually the third largest industry in the state. It produces $8.5 billion of revenue. Well, it had a salutary effect, apparently, or a silver lining. Agricultural officials in Colorado are saying that the floodwaters that literally swept away barns, silos, and fences and left houses covered in mud is, or are, the exact solution required for a long-term drought, which has afflicted the state. The state's agricultural commissioner said that if we can get by these medium and short-term problems, there will be a silver lining here because the sediment in the soil has now been enriched significantly. There was a big earthquake in eastern Turkey last night, 5.1 on the Richter scale. It hit a relatively unpopulated area in the Tutin region of Muş province. 2 days earlier, a 4.5 quake struck in the same area. That area of Turkey is in a very, very active seismic zone, which in fact in 1999 saw a quake that killed 18,000 people. Meanwhile, the second wealthiest man in China, a gentleman named Zhang Qinghao, is recovering after a knife attack perpetrated by an unemployed man who was frustrated when he was refused a job. Well, if I remember correctly, we have an American president who was attacked in Buffalo by a disgruntled job seeker, so this perhaps is not that unusual. Mr. Zhang Qinghao was attacked on the hand after a 49-year-old suspect knifed him. Mr. Zhang Qinghao is back at work. The 67-year-old billionaire is the second wealthiest man in China. He apparently has a net worth of about $12.5 billion. The billionaire himself started at the bottom. He did not attend high school. He lived in a farm commune, and according to him, for a long time I couldn't afford food and clothing. I climbed up from the very bottom of society. Could be a lesson to be learned by his attacker. Well, here's a story that our friends overseas are going to continue to wonder about because this is pretty typical of the United States. Starbucks, the coffee shop, says that guns are no longer welcome in its stores, although in the United States it's stopping short of an outright ban on firearms. The fine line that the retailer is walking to address the concerns of both gun rights and gun control advocates reflect how heated the issue has become, particularly in light of recent mass shootings. There were 14 people killed in Washington, D.C. 2 days ago in a mass shooting. Most states in the U.S. allow people to openly carry licensed guns in some ways, and many companies don't have laws banning firearms in their stores. But Starbucks has become a target for gun control advocates, in part because of its liberal-leaning corporate image. Have you been in there recently? Everything is very ecologically oriented. In turn, in response, gun right advocates have been galvanized by the company's decision to defer to local laws insofar as putting together prohibitions against gun controls, against gun use and gun carrying in stores. The CEO of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, said the decision to ask customers to stop bringing guns into stores came as a result of the growing frequency of so-called Starbucks Appreciation Days, in which gun rights advocates turned up at Starbucks cafes carrying firearms. Mr. Schultz said that demonstrations and such carrying of firearms into these cafes have made our other customers uncomfortable. Schultz hopes that people honor the request not to bring in guns, but says the company will nevertheless serve those who do. We will not ask you to leave. Well, if I remember from having watched a number of Western movies as a youth, they used to have racks in front of cafes where people had to check their guns before they came into the saloon. Maybe that's something we should think about. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.